For centuries, a singular dread has echoed through the chambers of faith, the fear of being left behind. A world plunged into chaos, a sudden, inexplicable vanishing, and the stark, terrifying reality of those who remain, facing an unknown, unspeakable future. It's a narrative woven deeply into the fabric of modern eschatology, a stark warning plastered across book covers and movie screens. But what if the story you've been told isn't the whole story? What if the true terror, and indeed the true hope, of being left behind is far more ancient, far more profound, and infinitely more chilling than you could ever imagine? Today we embark on a perilous journey, not through the familiar landscapes of Revelation or the well-trodden paths of contemporary prophecy, but into the shadow-drenched corridors of a text both revered and reviled, a book that whispers secrets from the dawn of time itself, the Book of Enoch. Prepare to have your understanding shattered, your assumptions challenged, and your perception of the left behind utterly transformed. Because what Enoch reveals is not what you think. And the implications, my friends, are staggering. The very phrase "left behind" conjures images of a specific theological event, the Rapture. Millions vanish in an instant, taken to glory, while the rest are abandoned to the horrors of the Great Tribulation. This is the prevailing narrative. But step back with me beyond the recent interpretations, beyond even the New Testament era, to a time when patriarchs walked the earth, when giants roamed, and when the veil between heaven and earth was far thinner. It is here, in the antediluvian world, that we find Enoch, a figure so extraordinary, so intimately connected with the divine, that God himself took him. And it is Enoch's terrifying vision, preserved in scrolls that defied oblivion, that offers a radically different and frankly, more disturbing perspective on who is left behind, and more importantly, why. Forget for a moment the modern debates. Let's delve into the heart of Enoch's message. He speaks not of a future event, but of a past cataclysm, a primordial leaving behind that set the stage for all subsequent human history and divine intervention. His account begins not with humanity's sins in isolation, but with the corruption introduced from above. We are introduced to the Watchers, a legion of angels sworn to guard the heavens, who instead gazed upon the daughters of men and lusted. They descended, defiled themselves, and taught humanity forbidden arts, sorcery, weaponcraft, astrology, even the art of cosmetic adornment, turning humanity away from pristine innocence towards a path of self-destruction and rebellion. These fallen watchers, these rogue celestial beings, did not merely observe humanity, they intervened. They took wives, and from these unholy unions sprang a monstrous progeny. The Nephilim, the giants of old, whose appetites were insatiable, whose deeds were abominable, and whose very existence corrupted the earth. The Book of Enoch paints a grim picture. These giants devoured all the labors of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, they turned upon humanity itself, consuming flesh and shedding blood. The earth cried out under their tyranny, groaning under the weight of injustice and defilement. This, my friends, was the first great leaving behind. Not of humanity by God, but of divine order by rebellious angels, and of pure humanity by monstrous corruption. And what was God's response to this cosmic transgression, this unholy mingling of realms? Judgment. Swift, decisive, and utterly devastating. The Watchers were bound in chains of darkness, cast into the abyssal prison of Tartarus, reserved for an even greater judgment. Their giant offspring were annihilated. And then the ultimate cleansing, the deluge. The flood, as described in Genesis, takes on a new, horrifying dimension when viewed through Enoch's lens. It was not merely a punishment for human wickedness, but a cosmic reset, a violent purging of the earth from the spiritual and physical pollution introduced by the fallen Watchers and their monstrous seed. All flesh that had been corrupted, all life that had strayed, was swept away. So who was left behind in this ancient cataclysm? The Watchers imprisoned, the Nephilim extinguished, and all of humanity save for Noah and his family drowned. But here's the crucial point. Those who were left behind by the flood were not waiting for a divine rescue. They were already condemned. Their being left behind was synonymous with their judgment, their removal from the earth due to their participation in or succumbing to the corruption that had permeated the world. It was a separation of the righteous few from the unrighteous many. A profound, terrifying distinction. Now let's turn our attention to Enoch himself, a man who wasn't left behind. Genesis cryptically states, Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. The Book of Enoch expands upon this, revealing the profound reason for his translation. Enoch was chosen. He was taken into the heavenly realms, shown the secrets of the cosmos, the mysteries of creation, the destinies of angels, and the fate of humanity. He walked through paradise, witnessed the abysses of judgment, and beheld the throne of God. He became a scribe for the divine, an intermediary, tasked with delivering messages of warning and judgment to the fallen watchers, and messages of hope and future redemption to his righteous descendants. This is where Enoch's narrative becomes chillingly relevant to our modern understanding of left behind. For Enoch, being taken was not a reward for simply being alive at a particular moment. It was the culmination of a life lived in profound communion with God, a life uncorrupted by the spiritual decay around him. He walked with God amidst the Nephilim, amidst the forbidden knowledge, amidst the deepening shadows of his age. His removal was a preservation from the impending judgment, a prefigurement of the ultimate separation between those who walk with God and those who embrace the fallen world. He was not raptured in the modern sense. He was transferred to a place of safety and divine counsel. Enoch's prophecies extend far beyond his own time, reaching into our present and future. He speaks of a final judgment, a great day, when the remaining watchers will face their ultimate sentence, when all unrighteousness will be purged from the earth, and when the righteous will inherit a new heaven and a new earth. And in this future judgment, the concept of left behind is echoed with profound solemnity. But it's not about being left behind after a secret rapture. It's about being left behind for judgment, for accountability, because one's heart and deeds align with the fallen world, rather than with the divine. The Book of Enoch shifts the entire paradigm. The left behind are not merely those who miss a ride to heaven. They are those who, by their choices, by their embrace of corruption, by their turning away from the path of righteousness, have already separated themselves from God. They are left behind in their unrighteousness, in their rebellion, in the very world that has become a stage for judgment. It's a sobering thought. The separation isn't something that happens to you, it's something you participate in through the trajectory of your life. Enoch vividly describes the signs preceding this final judgment: an increase in lawlessness, a perversion of justice, the proliferation of false teachings, and even disturbances in the natural order of the cosmos. Sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? He warns of a time when men will trust in idols and deny the true God, a time when the righteous will be persecuted, and the wicked will prosper for a season. But he also assures us that this is merely a prelude to the ultimate divine intervention, a sifting of the wheat from the chaff, a definitive separation. This ancient text implores us to re-examine our focus. Are we obsessing over when we might be taken, or are we diligently striving to walk with God in the present moment, just as Enoch did? The Book of Enoch suggests that the true preparation isn't about calendar watching or elaborate escape plans. It's about a profound internal transformation, a consistent alignment of our spirit with the divine will, a relentless pursuit of righteousness even when the world around us descends into chaos. The left behind scenario, when seen through the lens of Enoch, is less about a sudden, mystical disappearance and more about an ongoing, spiritual discernment. Are we left behind by the world's allurements, by its fleeting pleasures, by its deceptive promises? Or are we clinging to them, ensuring that when the true separation comes, we will be found on the side of that which is destined for judgment? Enoch's narrative serves as a profound mirror, reflecting not just a past judgment, but a continuous spiritual reality. The battle, according to Enoch, is not just against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the very same angelic forces that rebelled in the days of old, whose influence continues to subtly shape and corrupt human society. The left behind are those who succumb to this influence, who align themselves wittingly or unwittingly with the spiritual forces of darkness. The taken are those who, like Enoch, maintain their fidelity to the Almighty, who resist the spiritual gravitational pull of a fallen world. So, what can we take from this ancient, enigmatic text? A radical reevaluation. The Book of Enoch forces us to ask, what defines truly being left behind? Is it the absence of a secret transport, or is it the presence of an unrepentant heart? Is it a passive waiting for an event, or an active striving for righteousness? Enoch's message is a call to profound introspection. It urges us to examine our spiritual trajectory now, to ensure that we are walking with God, just as He did, so that when the ultimate separation occurs, we will be found among the taken into His presence, into His kingdom, into His eternal light. The fear of being left behind is a powerful motivator. But perhaps Enoch's greatest revelation is this: the choice to be taken or left behind is not solely dependent on a future event, but on the accumulated sum of our choices, our allegiances, and our spiritual posture today. Are you cultivating a life that walks with God, that resists the corruption of this fallen world? Or are you, by your choices, subtly, perhaps unknowingly, ensuring you are left behind by the very presence of God? The Book of Enoch is not just a cryptic glimpse into an ancient past. It is a prophetic mirror reflecting our present, and a profound warning for our future. Its message about the left behind is unsettling, yet undeniably powerful. It compels us to look not just to the skies but within our own hearts. Because what Enoch says about the left behind, it's truly not what you think. And understanding it might just change everything. Before we leave, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. What do you think about this video? See you in the next video.